My screen is all out of whack. I can fix that. And I will just edit that out of the stream. Oh, I don't have my chat doc anymore. Oh well. Actually, I'm going to cheat. I think it's here. Yeah, there it is. Hey everybody, hey Naveen, hey Gajendra. Thank you for welcoming me back. I'm trying to add the chat window back to OBS because oh wait, it's on here now. That's not what I wanted. Anyway, let me just snuggle that. I recently got a new laptop, and so I still haven't gotten everything set up and all of that. So what I'm trying to do is I think what I did is I added my chat doc. I'm actually going to pull this window over. And I think what I do is, now you guys are just seeing chat. I think if I go to create the dashboard, I can pop out the chat window. There we go. And that will give me a URL, which I can then add to my OBS doc. I think that works. Yes. Okay, now I've got to log in. Oh, good grief. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as I possibly can. Let's get my password open. I'm going to take this off screen. And then I'm probably going to have to get a code from somewhere. Should have done this before I started the stream. Let's try and see if it'll just log me in. Oh, good grief. Okay, and that is a code which I have here. Let's hope I can do this quickly enough. Okay, that seems to work. Yay! So now I can put chat back into my OBS instance somehow. Just trying to get it in a view that makes sense. Anyway, I will figure this out, folks. Okay, so let me close that. Let me close that. Let me close that. What am I trying to do today? I am trying to figure out. So okay, so let me take us a few steps back. So sometime just before I left for WordCamp Europe, I heard about something called the Agentic AI Foundation, and it's essentially like an open source foundation similar to other, like the Linux Foundation. It's part of the Linux Foundation projects, and they maintain a couple of projects related to AI. One of which is agents.md, one of which is MCP. Those are things I already know about. The other is Agent Gateway, which I still need to dive into. And the third thing is something called Goose, which I was aware of, but I'd never played with it. And so Goose is essentially this open source AI agent, similar to Claude Code and Codex and those kind of things. But it's open source. You can see the code, you can work with it, you can determine which models you want to use tied to any one specific model. And I thought it would be fun to dive into Goose today and see how it works, what it does, if it can work. But I thought instead of just setting it up with like an Anthropic API key or whatever, because I just got this new laptop, I thought it might be fun to see whether I could do some local only open source AI coding. So in other words, I'm going to install Goose as my agent. I'm going to use a local model. So the laptop that I bought, the laptop that I have now, I'll show you very quickly. It's an M5 Pro with 48 gigs of RAM. Now that should allow me to run some fairly okay models. It's not going to allow me to run like the best open weight models, but it should allow me to run some more useful ones. It's like 16 gigs of RAM more than what my previous laptop was. Interestingly, and I don't know if anybody here cares about this, but I'm going to share this data anyway. I benchmarked the new laptop against my workstation. So you might remember from previous things, I have a Linux workstation that I use as well. And I just want to show you quickly the results there. So the Linux workstation is running an Intel Core i7. I got this about 2 years ago. And that's the single core score there. And then this is the single core score for this current laptop. So it's slightly faster than the Intel Core i7 and slightly faster and multi-core. Not that much faster. It's only about 8,000 points, which if you do some simple calculations, so 28869 divided by 22221. So it's only like 1.4% faster already. Actually, did I do that right? I didn't do that right, did I? Hang on, can't calculate so early in the morning. So it's 2001 divided by 28869 times 100. So that's wrong. No, I'm working out the calculations wrong here. But anyways, but it's not a massive jump. You would expect it to be like quite a bit bigger. But what is interesting is that those are the CPU scores. In terms of the graphics card compute score, the graphics card that I have on the workstation, which is a 47 Ti Super, is still way faster. So I don't know how that's going to affect things. The other downside is the graphics card on the workstation has like less RAM. So anyway, what I'm trying to make is this machine is fairly fast and has a decent amount of RAM. So I should be able to run some interesting local models. So what I did, this is kind of all part of the setup, is one of my colleagues mentioned something called llm-foot, which is an open source repository that allows you to run a terminal command on your machine and see which is the best model for your hardware. So I have that installed, and when I ran that, I think you just run llm-foot. It checks your system hardware, so there it's picked up all the hardware, and then it gives you an idea of like what the best models are based on your hardware. And what I then did was I said, okay, cool. I want to have a look at specifically coding use cases. So I think if you press U, you can specify by coding, which is what I did. So you can say I want for general use case, reasoning, chat, whatever. I specifically want by coding only. And so these are the ones that came up you can see here this unsloth Qwen3 Coder came up, regular Qwen3 Coder came up, the 30B model. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of the the best sort of model according to this hardware. This checker. The other checker that I have that I found is this one. I'll share all of these in the chat in a second if you want to see these things. So let me copy this out. Where did the chat window go? This is why I like to have the chat doc so that I can. There it is. So there is the. There's the llm-foot one, and there is LLM Checker, and the doc has gone away again. There we go. Let me see if I can. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Gajendra. It's a decent enough machine. It's one of the benefits of being employed is you get to get new machines every couple of years. And so this is the other tool that you can run. It's called LLM Checker. What I like about LLM Checker compared to LLM-foot is, let me go here, LLM Checker. Is that not how you run it? I did it. Oh wait, sorry, you hardware detect, and then, oh yeah, here we go. So this is what I ran. So LLM Checker recommend category coding. Now what's cool about that command is you can specify in the command what you're looking for. So recommend coding models. And so based on my hardware, what it suggested was Llama 2 as the best overall, Qwen2.5 Coder 32B for coding, and then reasoning was DeepSeek and various others. So what I did was I ended up installing, I'm using Ollama. So let's go. Yeah. I ended up installing, no, that's not what I want. There we go. I ended up installing Qwen2.5 Coder, the 32B one, and Qwen3 Coder, the latest model, which is the 30B model. So those are the two that I have installed locally. Based on the checking that I did, those two seem to be the two best. Then what I did was I installed WP Bench. Now, if you don't know what WP Bench is, it's essentially this tool that you can run that evaluates how well language models specifically understand WordPress development. Now, my understanding is that there is still some work being done to WP Bench to make sure that it's actually like testing things correctly. And so I don't know how much I trust its hang on, I'm just moving some things around here. I don't know how much I trust what it's telling me, but what I do know is that it's the best option that I have right now. So I did do a video on setting up WP Bench a while ago. You can go look for that on my YouTube. I did a local models video a while ago. But essentially, you need to have Python installed, and then you run these commands. You set up your API keys, and then you set up these configurations. So I'll show you quickly what that looks like. So I have WP Bench here. So I've got the code checked out and installed. That's some tests that I was running. I don't need to worry about that right now. And so essentially what I did was I created a bunch of configurations. Go away, go away, go away. So I created one for knowledge. So what I discovered was there was a massive update to WP Bench some time ago. I'll find it here quickly for you. So where is it? Here we go. Add comprehensive execution tests. So earlier this year in June, Jason added something like 150 execution tests. And I can show you where those tests are. They're sitting here in the datasets, suites, core execution. There we go. So it's all of these JSON files. If you have a look at, for example, the abilities API, you open it up. This is the test suite, and then these are all the individual tests. And if I close this one down, for example, it has 4 different tests in abilities API. But if you have a look at something like database, for example, it has 6 different tests. And then if you have a look at something like post types and taxonomy, it has 8 different tests. So there's, on average, about, I would say, some of them have a little bit more, some of them have 12. But there's around about sort of 8 to 10 tests per file. And as you can see here, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, it's 28. So there's actually probably more than 150. He probably added 150 on top of what was already there. So what that means is, if you run all the tests, it takes forever to get results. And what you should do, see, the way the results work is it runs the what's called knowledge tests, which are these ones here, and these are sort of multiple choice questions. So it's like, what function registers a new ability in WordPress? So what it'll do is it'll send that query to, it'll send that prompt to the agent will respond with something, and then it needs to respond with the correct answer. And so then it generates a knowledge value. And then the execution tests, if you have a look at those are actually doing something. So register an ability API category with the slug, and then it needs to register that code and return that code back and test, and then it's tested run, and then it calculates a value there. And so what you end up with when you run your test is you have a knowledge value, and mine says none there right now, and I'll explain why in a second. And then you have all the execution values, so pass rate and all those kind of things. And then it gives you an overall value percentage of how well this model works for WordPress development. But as I said, because there's 150 tests, it takes a while to run those tests. And so I was sitting running them yesterday, and I ended up getting annoyed. So what I ended up doing was I ended up running the knowledge tests separately. So I did this. I created a specific config for the knowledge tests. Where is that? There we go. And I basically added all of the models that I was testing. So I was testing Claude, the last 2 Claude, not so much the recent Claude models, but the ones before that, because I'm kind of expecting the local models to not be as good as the top end, frontier models. So I was comparing Claude Opus, Claude Sonnet against Qwen2.5 and Qwen3 Coder. And then I basically just ran the knowledge tests. So I got a score there. So the score for those were this. So there you can see Claude Opus has a decent amount of knowledge of WordPress development. Claude Sonnet a little bit less. Qwen2.5 way less, so 62% knowledge. So there's probably like some of the newer stuff missing. Abilities API, that kind of thing. So that kind of gave me an overall percentage for these things. And you can see there that Qwen3 Coder is slightly higher in terms of knowledge than 2.5, which makes sense. Then what I did was I created individual execution configs for each model, and I ran them on a per model basis. But the other thing I did was I limited it to 50 tests. Now, this is probably not the best way to test this. I probably should have just let them all run. I probably will do this in a future run, but I had limited time and I was trying to get a rough idea of what these models were capable of. And as you can see, the responses there, as expected, Opus is slightly better than Sonnet, so 7.6 and 7. Qwen2.5 3 is 0.56 and 2.5 is 0.6, which I thought was interesting. So in terms of knowledge, Qwen3 is slightly more knowledgeable, but in terms of actual execution, Qwen2.5 2.5 is slightly better. Whether that's because of the type of questions, the type of things they're trying to execute, I don't know. That's the difficult part to judge. But the reason I mention this is because I'm going to end up trying to use both models and just see what we get. What I'm expecting is that these models are not going to handle some of the newer stuff like abilities API and all that kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, so that's going to be my little test bed today. I'm going to try and test all of these 3 models. Actually, I'm probably not going to test Claude Sonnet. I'll just stick with Claude Opus. I kind of want to use Opus as the frontier model example, and then I'll test 3 and 2.5 against that. So the goal is going to be build a plugin with a specific set of functionality. I'm going to try and use some of the newer stuff, so like Abilities API. It's not brand new, but it's newish. So what I'm going to do is if you had been following any of my workshops and things online, I built this demo plugin some time ago, and it's kind of gone over a couple of iterations, but essentially it's this AI workshop demo plugin. I use it when I present workshops on how to build all these things. No, that's Ryan's one. I got a different one. Mine's WP AI workshop demo. Here we go. I should chat to Ryan. We should maybe name our things better. But essentially what this does is it creates a photo to post plugin. So you end up with a settings page that can accept a image URL. It'll then receive a prompt, and then based on the prompt, it'll create a post and then add the post to your WordPress site. So it kind of covers like a whole bunch of WordPressy things, from settings pages, creating an admin pane, creating a settings page, implementing Abilities API, implementing AI clients. So it's kind of like new and old all mixed together. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to try and see if I can get these models to handle this. We'll see how it goes. It might be hilarious, or it might be very, very good. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. But let's give it a go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by installing Goose, which according to this should be easy enough. Okay, there we go. This thing is not doing what I wanted to. It's frustrating. Sorry, I'm trying to do something off screen here when I'm talking to you. But it's just not doing what I wanted to. So I'm going to have to move some things around. Okay. It's probably better. There we go. Okay, I think I've got that sorted out. Okay, so let's start by installing Goose. Where do I install Goose? Okay, so up here, I suppose I go to GitHub. Yeah, okay, I already have that open. All right. Download the desktop app or install the CLI. I'm going to go with the CLI just because I want something CLI-like. I want it to be similar to Claude Code and those things, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that in a second. So let's clear this. Okay, so this is going to install Goose for us. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Okay, so Goose is installed. Yeah, I don't care about data. Okay, how would you like to set up a provider? OpenRouter. Okay, so they use OpenRouter as a recommendation. Agent router service. No, I'll go with manual configuration for now. And then I want to be able to use Ollama. So that's going to be somewhere on this list, I reckon. Here we go. Local open source models. Yes, it's quite a list. Wow. Provider requires Ollama host. Please enter. Provider Ollama requires Ollama host. Please enter. I guess localhost is probably fine. What advanced settings are there? Let's find out. Enter Ollama timeout. I guess 600 is fine. Model fetch. Oh, cool. I can actually choose the model. I wonder which one we'll start with. Let's start with 3. We'll see how 3 does. Or should I? Let's start with 2.5, and then I'll see how 3 does after that. It'll be cool if Goose allows me to switch models later on. That'll be fun. Okay, so it looks like that's all good. So I should be able to just run Goose now. Yes. Okay, that was nice and easy. Okay, what I want to do now is this. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to use this inside of my little agent dashboard that I have. So it's a thing that I built for myself a while ago. It basically allows me to spin up agent sessions and run them in a web browser. But to be able to do that, I need to configure Goose. And my settings are not working. That's annoying. Is this thing running? Let's just check here. No, it's not running. That's why. Okay, there we go. So I want to add Goose. No. And what I want to do is I want to run Goose in essentially YOLO mode. So I want to see if there's a YOLO mode for Goose. Go here. Configure, install, extensions, guides, sessions, recipes. CLI commands, configuration. Doesn't seem to. Security. What I'm looking for is like something like emissions, something like that. Managing tool permissions, Goose permission modes. Here we go. Okay, completely not okay. Here we go. Goose CLI. Use the mode command. So you can't run it in that mode from settings. So here we go. Goose configure. Goose mode. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's run that. Goose settings. Goose mode. Auto full file modification extension uses create and delete files freely. Oh, interesting. So it's actually in auto mode to begin with by the looks of it. Where's that? Hang on. Okay, so that's configured to auto mode. Okay, sweet. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to be working inside of a WordPress directory, and I'm asking it to create plugin files, so I feel pretty confident that I can give it that mode. So then, let's go back. Okay, so that I don't have to worry about. That I need to enable. Okay, so let's add Goose. All right, got Goose there now. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to open up my studio site, and I'm going to just check if I've got any plugins installed. I think I do, so I need to delete some of them. Oh yeah, I was busy fiddling with AI providers and things recently. So let's deactivate all of these. I'll leave them on there, but I can deactivate them. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so there's no other plugins related to what I want to build, so that's great. So then let's go back here and let's do this. So I want to be inside of Studio, WordPress AI demo. So usually what I do is I give the agent access to the whole WordPress install. That way it can look up code, it can figure out how things work. It can read APIs and API docs and that kind of thing. Okay, so let's start with Claude Code. So let's start that. And then, because I tested out Opus and Sonnet, let's use Opus 4.7. I think 4.8 is the one available here. Let's just see. Yeah, it's Opus 4.8. Okay, so We'll probably get a slightly better result with 4.8, but that's fine. Okay. So now let's work on the prompt, and I'm going to open up my notes here because I want to create a prompt that we're going to use across all 3 agents. So they're all the same. So let's say, okay, build a WordPress plugin that has the following, okay, build a WordPress plugin allows the user to enter a image URL and a prompt to generate a post. User I like using commas too much, I think. Okay, build up where that. I'm going to do this. Adds the following functionality to the WordPress admin. I want it to figure out where to put the stuff. I want to see what it does. Form that allows a user, let's say a site owner, to enter an image and prompt to generate a post. Should use the WordPress AI client to read the image and generate an image description. Then it should use that description to generate the post. If the user has added guidance in the initial prompt, do that as part of the post generation. Add the initial image as the featured image in the post. Post should be created in draft mode. Only admin users should be able to use this tool. Okay. Form that allows download into an URL and a prompt to generate a post. It should use the WordPress AI client to read the image and generate an image description. Then it should use the description to generate the post content. If the user has added guidance initial prompt, include that as part of the post generation. Add the initial image as the featured image on the post. The post should be created in draft mode only. Only admin users should be able to use this tool. Okay, so that's going to be my prompt. I'm trying to give it as much as I can give it without giving it too much. And I want to see what Claude Code does with this. So I'm kind of just one-shotting this. I want to see what it comes up with. Now, because I've added the AI plugin, that's going to give it some additional context. If I didn't have that installed, it would not give it that context, which is interesting. So I kind of should run this test without that stuff as well and see what it does. But I can't change the test bed now. It's too late. Okay, so let's find that. And this is one of the reasons why I like to run this kind of stuff within like a whole WordPress install. And especially if you're building extensions and other things, is have those plugins installed, because then the AI can read the code, understand what's happening. So maybe this is not a bad thing that we've got all this stuff installed and ready to rock and roll. It kind of makes it a little bit easier for things to handle. So let's see what it does with this. So while it's doing that, last night I was thinking about like how would I rate what it builds? Ideally, it would be nice if I had some unit tests up and running first that I could build against, and I could see how well the AI generates code against those tests. So that might be a future live stream. For now, I'm just going with the one-shot approach. I want to see what it can do with the one-shot approach. So I was thinking how I could sort of rate this is, first of all, does the plugin activate without errors? Does the plugin have a logical settings page, or wherever it creates the content and the form and how it works? And then essentially, does it work? Does it attempt to do what it is supposed to do? So if you have any ideas of how else you can sort of verify the quality, not the quality, I'm not looking specifically for the quality of the code right now, that I would do maybe in a different stream. I just want to see today like how good of a final product this thing creates. And so if you have any ideas of other things to kind of look out for, let me know and I'll add those. Because it would be nice to have like 5 things to look for, and then you can kind of score it out of 5. So 1 point if it activates without errors, 1 point if it has a logical settings page, 1 point if it attempts to do what it's supposed to do. So maybe what we could say is, okay, let's put it this way. So what we could say is we could say, does it use the AI client properly? In other words, does it generate the description of the post and those kind of things? And then I suppose we could say, does it create the post in draft mode? And maybe does it add the image as the featured image? Maybe those 5 things. So 1 point for each of those. Not looking at code quality today, just looking at final product. Maybe code quality could be something we look at a future stream. We could review what gets generated today, or we could give it a clearer set of guardrails and see what works and what doesn't. I have a feeling that obviously Claude will get it rightish, and I feel like the local models are going to fail miserably, but I'm keen to see how far we get. So let's see what happens. Okay, so this thing is off doing its thing. Let's have a look, see what it's creating. Okay, so AI post from image. Okay. What might be fun is to run this against something like PHP-CS, some kind of static analyzer, and the plugin check plugin at a later stage. That could be fun. So it looks like it's doing this in one PHP file, from what I can tell. It's using, it's got the image side loading happening. Seems to have managed to pick up the client prompt stuff, which is pretty sweet. It's using system instruction. That's cool. So here it's doing the image stuff. Okay, so let's see how it's going here. Okay, so it looks like this is done now. No provider key is configured on the site yet. That's interesting because I disabled the Anthropic key, so that's fine. Okay, so that's good. So it's done something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure we just commit this code somewhere. So I'm going to say, what did it call it? It called it AI post from image. So I'm going to call the repository, just for fun, AI post from image test. And then I can say testing out local AI models by bolding and AI post from image plugin. I'm just going to create it here quickly. And then I'm just going to set this all up. So let me just do this quickly. And this is one of those things where, yes, I could get the AI to do this for me. I still prefer to do my Git stuff myself manually. Don't know why. CD AI post from image. So let's add, okay, let's add a README. So touch README, empty. And then get net. Can't spell today. Okay. Oh, still using not used to using Vim or VI, whatever this is. QA. So that's that. Not quite, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. Don't like. Just nano. All right. Okay. All right, so we should have a repo now. Good. Okay. So now git branch minus, no, git checkout minus B, and we'll call this Claude code. Okay. And then we can add that. Claude code one shot. Get. See, this is what happens when you've set up a new machine, but you haven't configured everything correctly. Global username. And then I have to change this or work stuff individually. It's painful. Okay, that should do it. Can I get push you origin what conversion? What? What code? Get. Okay, so that should push it there. So now we should have, okay, so that's that. Okay, let's test. So first we will need to enable, I think I have Anthropic installed and enabled, which is fine. Come on. So let's activate Anthropic AI provider. Let's just check in the connectors page. I haven't got my API key. Dang it. Okay, give me a second while I just take this off screen so I don't share my API keys with people. There we go. I should actually really just stick this in an env in my WP config somewhere. Make life a lot easier. Okay, there we go. It's working. Let's bring it back here. Okay, so that's connected. So now if we go back to plugins, we should have, there's post from image. Okay, it's active. Okay. So, oh, it's added. Okay, it's added it to the tools menu. That's good. There's the URL. There's the prompt. Let's see if it works. Okay. So I have a bunch of images in my media library, so I'm going to just grab one from there. Oh, look at that. My website fell over. Wonder why that happened. Oh, wait, I think I know what this is. 1 second. Okay. So let's log in. No, I don't want to log in WordPress.com. Yes. Okay, there we go. Media. So let's grab that one. Okay, let's see if this works. So there's the photo. Prompt guidance. Okay, it's understood the prompt pretty well. So let's say post about the road less traveled. Okay. Let's see if this works. It should do. Error, unsupported file type. This API only supports inline files for non-document types. Interesting. So it didn't even do the functionality correctly. Okay, well, that's cool. It's kind of what you expect from an AI. So let's rate it out of 5. So Claude code, it activated without errors. It had a logical settings page. Does it use the AI client properly? So that's a code thing. I need to have a look at how it's using the AI client. It does seem to be using it correctly. If I have a look at so There's describe image, there's generate post parts. So if we have a look at describe image, it's using the AI client prompt, so it does seem to be working. So yeah, I would say it's using the AI client correctly. So I'll give it 3 points for that. Does it create the post in draft mode? No, it does not. Does it add the image as the feature image? No, it does not. So Claude Code gets 3 out of 5, which is kind of what you expect from a one-shot. Even with Claude Code, there's some error there. I don't know. API only supports inline files for non-document types. Let's see. I'm going to quickly just dive into this, just to understand. Oh, this is probably the AI client. Now, what the AI client needs is a base64 encoded image. I can show you what that looks like. I actually do it in the demo. So let me show you. So I actually have this helper function, which fetches the image and returns it as a base64 encoded data URL. So I didn't get that right. Okay, so I mean that you can fix with a prompt. Maybe we'll do that later. I don't know. Let's have a note of that. So let's add a note. Let's say did not fetch the image and convert to base 64. Okay, cool. So that's that. All right, now let's try Goose. Kind of want to try both 2.5 and 3. And I've got an hour, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so that's the first one. So let's go back here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to Goose. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to run this inside of my thing, because switching terminals, switching agents is really quick and easy. I've already got the code file open, so it just automatically switches to the new agent, starts a new session, and I'm good to go. Okay, so first things first, I want to delete. No, I don't want to delete that plugin. No, I do want to delete that plugin. But I want to push the code. I suppose what I could do, that I'm not, I should have had an empty folder. I should have created the repo and then generated the empty folder and then used that as part of the test. Okay, I'm going to just move forward like this. So let's check out. Okay. So let's go back here. Okay, so then I'm going to use this prompt again, bold. Let's see if it's clever enough to pick up that there's a folder there. If there isn't, then I'll just copy it over. Okay. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't expect this to work at all. Let's see. I'm interested to see what this does to my resources. Okay, so I'm currently using 43 gigs of my available 48 gigs of memory. Good grief. And the problem is I'm running OBS, I'm running Chrome. Now is this thing working? Didn't do anything. It doesn't seem to have done anything. Okay. I wonder if this is because I'm running it inside of Concilium. I wonder if it'll be better if I run it inside an actual terminal. Okay, let's stop this. Let's do the side inside an actual terminal. So let's go into the root of the WordPress site. And let's run Goose. Okay, let's see. Maybe there's some extra config I need to do. This is not a great experience at all. It's just, I don't know what it's doing. Okay, let's go see if there's something in the docs. Install Goose. Set provider. We've done that. Running Goose. Oh, Goose session. Okay. So I've got to start a session. Okay. That wasn't super clear. So let's try that here. I mean, that doesn't look better. Just doing the same thing. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of tutorials. So I feel like Goose is not building a small app. Let's just jump to building a small app. Provider we've done, start session, Goose session. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. Now, I wonder if this has got more to do with the fact that I'm using local models. Okay, I did read this yesterday, but it actually says you need to run the model. So let's try that. Let's see if that works. So let's open up a new tab. Everything just froze. I think I have maxed out my machine. Let's quit that. Let's quit the monitor. My VLC is open. Let's quit some things here. My terminal won't shut down. Oh dear. I think I'm doing too many things. Let's close that. Let's close this. Let's close some tabs here. Okay, I might have to force kill my terminal. I was not expecting that to happen. Okay, let's just let this run up. So let's force quit the terminal. The problem is PHP is taking up a bunch of memory as well. Can't seem to quit the terminal right now. Switch between tabs, but I can't. Good grief. Okay. Let's use good old grep. Pretty sure this works on Mac OS as well. Oh wait, I need the terminal to run that. Oh, good grief. Oh, here we go. Quit. Force quit. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. While we're here, what is the... Okay, memory's a lot better now. Okay, I think I just maxed out the RAM. Right, let's open the terminal again. Let's exit out of some of these. Just on the safe side. Okay, so okay, so that's running. So now if we go a new tab, go to session. Now it might work. I wonder if we need to configure this first. Okay, let's just try that. I wonder if the problem is this. Let's just check something. Okay, so that is correct. Okay. That was the one we are running, eh? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's see if it works now with the model running in the background. RAM is way up. It might also be a RAM issue. It might be that the models I've got are just too big. Shut down PHP store. It's just doing the same thing over and over again. Only I can't spell functionality. Well, so far Goose with the local model is failing miserably, if you ask me. It looks like it's generating like the steps, but they're not actually running them. So I need to do some digging into why this is doing this. So somebody else mentioned opencode to me, which is another open source AI coding agent. So I just want to see, I think this also supports Ollama models. Comes with the free models that you can use without creating an account. That's kind of cool. So let's give this a try. Let's try opencode. So far Goose is like, I can't even get Goose working, so I might have to do some digging. How to get Goose working? Question mark. Let's try opencode and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so let's exit out of there. Let's exit out of there. And then let's install opencode. I wonder what free models it comes with. Okay, let's see once it installs. Okay, so let's go CD, Studio, WordPress AI demo, code. I probably need to restart my shell. Hey, Anne. Hey, welcome. I'm trying to figure out if I can build WordPress plugins using open source coding agents and free models. So far, I'm not finding any success. I just tried out something called Goose and couldn't get that to work. And so now I'm trying something called opencode, seeing how that works. Okay, so that comes with all of these free models, by the looks of it. It's a brand new machine. I just got it. It's an M5 Pro with 48 gigs of RAM, so it should be doable. So I wonder which one of these three. This is what I hate about. See, now I'm gonna have to run tests and blah blah blah. Okay, let's just go to Ollama. Let's see if I can get Ollama to work. Opencode Zen, Opencode Go, OpenAI, GitHub, Control A. Okay, let's go Ollama. I'm gonna go all the way down. Okay, this is quite cool. I can actually search. No, I don't want Ollama Cloud. I can't do Ollama Local. How do I do local Ollama models? Nice. I will be honest. I'm not a fan of Apple. I have a Mac because I need one for work. If I could get away with just having Linux in my life, I'd be happy. But so I do have a Linux workstation. I've mentioned this before, and I work on that every day. But I need to have a laptop that just works when I travel, especially when I'm presenting, because I present quite a bit. And I'm not prepared to have a Windows machine, so Mac it is, just because it has an HDMI and it just works. And also because I need to have all three operating systems to test things on. So on the Linux machine, I have a Windows dual boot as well, because I need to be able to test things across all operating systems. But if I could stream on my workstation, I would. I just haven't set it up yet because I've been streaming on Mac since I first joined Automatic. But maybe I should. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Ollama integration docs. Oh, so you can Ollama launch opencode. Okay, let's try that. Okay, let's just escape right here. Let's exit this. Okay, so let's go Ollama. No, that's not what I want. Why is it not copying? Let's try that again. I can't believe it's just not doing what I want it to do. Let's just type it out. Ollama launch opencode. Okay, so I want. That's interesting. It's only offering Qwen3 Coder. I wonder why. Interesting. Okay. Okay. All right. I wonder if I switch to Qwen3 Coder on Goose, whether that'll work. Let's see. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this layout. I much prefer having the big layout like Claude Code and Codex does. But anyway, let's see if it can handle a one-shot prompt. So I can't paste. Okay, I can paste that. Did that even work? Probably not. I'm already angry. I guarantee this is not pasting what I wanted to paste because copy paste is failing on me today. Oh no, it is. Okay, cool. I don't like the fact that it pastes that one line thing and I can't see what I'm doing. I hate it when agents do that. But let's see what this handles. Okay, so let's have a look at the monitor. Okay, it's using less RAM by the looks of it, which is a good thing. Doing this now kind of makes me want to see if there's a little plugin that I can run that just shows me like memory usage and CPU usage in a widget somewhere on screen, so I can track this without having to open up Activity Monitor. There's probably an app for that. If anybody knows of a Mac app that'll just show memory and CPU usage in like a widget that'll hover on screen, let me know. Because when I'm doing these kind of tests, it would be handy to have. I just want to see those two values and like CPU load just in a widget somewhere. So if anybody knows if that exists, let me know. Okay, this seems to be actually doing something. So let's see how well this handles using Qwen3 Coder. Now this is actually using abilities. It's actually reading the abilities from the AI plugin, which Claude didn't do. I wonder if it's going to create its own abilities. It's calling it the WordPress capabilities API. That's hilarious. I'm going to take my headphones off because I think I can hear my fans running. Yep. Mac OS. I can see my camera may be stuttering a little bit, so I don't know if the stream is still working for you all. But I'm definitely hearing the fans running. What's it doing now? It's like it's actually writing the code. Okay. Or is it reading this code? Interesting. Memory's still doing pretty okay. Looks like it stopped. I think it stopped. Let's have a look, see if there's anything to look at. Yeah, doesn't look like it's written any code. No. Okay, so that was pretty much a fail. Yep, that didn't get anywhere. Okay, let's exit this and then let's clear the session. And then let's try Goose with the better mob. Providers, Ollama, no, Qwen3 Coder. Let's try that. See what this does. Fix the spelling because it's driving me crazy. Functionality. Okay, this seems to actually be trying to do something. It's using way more memory, which is interesting. Okay. So it seems to be a case of like this is kind of like a one response situation with Goose. I feel like there's more setup that you kind of need to do with Goose than you do with opencode. I think that's what I'm learning today. So I think what I need to do to try and get this to be close is do things like maybe create a plan, add some agent skills, using something like Goose hints. It's starting to make me realize that there's a lot of work done on the like paid products like Claude Code and Codex and those kind of things that these open source tools don't have. So if I did something like this, if I said something like create the shell of a WordPress plugin and then add this functionality and then add that functionality and sort of did it step by step, I might get better results with things like Goose. I feel like I'm definitely going to need to do more diving into how these things work. Before I can understand how to use it properly. So I wonder, let's just run a very quick test. So let's say let's do this. Let's switch Goose to WP content plugins. WP, wait, what is it? What is it? AI poster image. Okay. So let's do this. Let's say create the main plugin WordPress plugin file for this plugin. Let's just see if that can handle like a basic thing. Just realized you all can't see this because my head's in the way, so I'm going to move that up. And I should probably make the font size a bit bigger as well. Anyway. So now it's actually creating, so this it can kind of handle. So like giving it a simpler command, it can kind of handle. It's very slow though. I think that might also be because we're hitting the memory limits. So I feel like if I did something like, let's just go here to Ollama. So I feel like if I installed like the 14B model, because the 32B model is 20 gigs, the actual model size. So that's all I think getting loaded into memory, which is what's using up. So maybe if I did like the 14B, I would get somewhere better. I would love to understand how to get Goose to work better. Because it seems to be hanging a lot. That might be a model thing. Let's see if this exists in DeepWiki. Doesn't look like it. 8th of July. Okay, so someone has added it, so it is there. Okay. So I feel like I need to learn how to I feel like Goose requires a little bit more configuration to work properly. Maybe not. It seems to be running. I feel like I'm still limited. Yeah, you see my memory is hitting like very close to, and that's just to create the basic plugin file stuff. Let's see what it's doing though. So it's creating that. It's creating some admin things. It's creating like the, what's it creating? You see, it's doing a whole bunch of stuff I didn't ask for, based on posts from AI. So, okay. I think what I'm learning is that I need to set things up differently. Let's just see here. So what is this doing? It's adding a menu page. Settings section, it's registering an, see, it's registering a key which it doesn't need because it doesn't know about the AI plugin. Let's see, generate post from image. Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to try this again next week. In between now and next week, I'm going to install the smaller versions of these two models. So Qwen has a 2.5 as a 14B model, and Qwen3 think has a 16. 3 coder. Oh, it's just the 30B model. I mean, I wish I could run the 480, but I doubt that's going to happen. So I'm going to have to look at smaller models, I think. So I'll have a look at what those tools that I was using recommends, and then I need to understand. I think, am I using OMLX? What is OMLX? Let's have a look. I have no idea what that is. Oh, right. No, I'm not. I'm specifically using Ollama because I don't want to do something that's Mac only. I want it to be cross-platform. So I'm not using that at the moment. I do want to dive into that at some point in the future, but right now I want to focus on things that are specifically cross-platform. Because of my deep dislike of Mac products. No, I'm kidding. No, I just want to find something that works on any platform and just see where we're at. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do for next week is I'm going to see. So here's the other thing. So when I run, for example, let's just exit out of here. When I run llm-foot, there are these other models. So there's this one, and like there's LM Studio versions. And so I wonder if those versions are better. I suppose I need to install them through LM Studio. If I go providers, I suppose providers I can. See, that's the other thing. Like, am I limiting myself by only using Ollama, for example? Maybe I am. That's what's kind of cool about LLM Checker is it actually specifically works with Ollama models. So and that's kind of the other problem is there's so many different providers of models and things. Like which one's the better one? Like PyDev, I have no idea what that is. So it's minimal agent harness. That's kind of the problem is there's so many different options. Do you want to try to see something? Yeah, I mean, I can add this to the mix. Yeah, for me, it's less about the user interface and more about just does it work. So I can add Py to the mix as well. I just want to find a simple solution that works. I was hoping that would be Goose. It kind of wasn't. I need to dive into that more. Part of the reason, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm looking into Goose is that Goose is part of the Agentic AI Foundation, which is something that I'm also a part of. I'm like an ambassador for them, so I want to dive into the tools and understand what the tools do and how they work. So the primary focus for me, at least, is Goose. And I guess the problem is there's so many tools, there's so many options. I'm looking for something that's just simple. Goose kind of isn't that right now. Opencode is a little bit simpler. It kind of got somewhere. Anyway, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some notes for myself here. So I'm going to say how to get Goose working is the first thing. I'm going to work on that this week. I'm going to say install some smaller models and test. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to break the steps down, break the prompt down into smaller working steps. So I guess if you're one-shotting, then the frontier model stuff is great, but that's not how I build software either. So what I think I need to do is create like a plan and then ask the agent to work on the plan. So that might be a better test as to what it does. So that is what I'm going to focus on for the next week until next week Friday, and then I'll come back with a bit of a better plan and we can try out these things again. I guess I probably need to do a little bit more reading on how Goose works and what it does, and just understand how best to use it. Because right now, out of the box, it kind of doesn't do what I want it to do. So I'll spend some more time on that over the course of the week. But at the moment, it's not simple and easy to use open source stuff. Well, not as easy as the paid models, but we'll get there. This is all experimentation for me anyway. So anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this hour and a bit with me, hour and 40 minutes, whatever it was. I will do my best to get myself up to speed on all these things by next week, and then we'll see how it goes by next week Friday. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next week. Bye.